everybody. Welcome to the stand up Monday morning here. So, Justin, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. The kids were sick all weekend, so I feel like I survived. Barely slept last night, but fuck it. This is how it goes.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
What are you gonna
So,
do?
I had a plan to start this show on something, and then I found some. As you know, my parents are clearing out their basement, finding all sorts of stuff, old paintball guns and fun. I got Superman. I got Death and Return of Superman back here that was unopened, found. So I'm excited about stuff like that. But they also found here two other things. This is my school newspaper from middle school, 1999. So just to take you guys back to 1999 here, this is everybody's dyeing their hair yellow because Eminem is all the rage, right? Eminem released My Name Is, right? That was everybody's running around with the blonde hair. Let's see what else. What else was 1999? Owen Hart dies. That was sad. 1899 is also Columbine, also sad, but 1999 is also
Janko jeans. Napster.
Jinko Jeans, Napster comes out in 1999. We're on AIM. There is there's no MySpace yet, so there's no real social media. This is just AOL Instant Messenger. This is Napster. You're downloading over a phone line, so you're on a 56K modem. Your computer's probably Gateway or Dell. At this time, Macintosh is considered crap,
Mm-hmm.
unless you had one of the maybe it was that colorful one that some people had, but like around me it was Gateway 2000, right?
Yep.
So
Same.
1999,
Compact.
1999. And the reason my mom saved these is because I wrote the cover story in February on the new millennium. Should we look forward to it? And it was on Y2K, if you remember. In Y2K, I'm just rereading it here when the computer clocks are going to interpret the year 1900 instead of the year 2000. And
Mm.
this was supposed to send the world into a complete and total tailspin. So 1 year from this moment, you know, so you're, and you know what else we got in '99? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, dude. That game was the shit, if you remember anyway. So that was the shit. But everything was supposed to shut down on at the end of the year, January 1st. And I remember someone coming to my house with the disc, popping it into the CD-ROM and preparing the computer for Y2K, right? So that it didn't happen. Here we are.
Storyline of Office Space.
The ball, I remember watching the ball drop the year 2000 all around the world. This was the biggest New Year's ever of my entire life. The ball's dropping all over, and the computers all stay online. The planes stay in the air. Everything is fine. Long story short, this was one of the first pieces of news, but I bring out the second one, June of 1999. That was February. This is June. And I wrote this article, and this is so funny because my mom says this is so funny because you were not really into computers very much at all. As I tell people, how to build a website,
Shit.
how to build a website. And so I thought,
The bricks were
what would
laid.
be the bricks must have been laid. I did build websites back then, and I thought I'd read a little bit of this here because I think it's really funny because what I want to show is this is how the internet was. And if you're listening now at where we are today, this is going to sound pretty funny. So let me begin. The first thing you have to do before you start making a website is get on the internet. So yeah,
Wait,
it's common sense.
that's how your article
That,
began.
that's how my article begins. Sixth grade, 1999, right? Once you get online, on dash line, right? This is how it is on hyphen line. Go to www.geocities.com, then go to where it says join today and get your free homepage. After you click that, you will immediately be taken to a page with a form on it for you to fill out. While you are filling this out, remember not to give your real name or address. After you submit this form, you will be given other various surveys to determine your personality, what your site will be about, and what neighborhood would be best for you. So this is so funny because back then, I want everybody to kind of be taken back here. You did not use your real name at all online. It was always an alias. If you remember your first AIM username, you will have to kind of take it back. I think mine was Mr. Z Fat, Phat. You know why I wanted my original username? I wanted it to be War Machine, but that was not allowed. by AOL at that time because it was like a hackers used names like that, so it wasn't allowed. I was a big I was a big War Machine fan at the time. I wanted that to be my name. That didn't end up being it. So let me continue here. This is your first time making a website. You may not know what a neighborhood or even an address for your site is. The neighborhood is very much like it is where you live. The only difference is that these neighborhoods are especially made so that your site is with other sites that are like it. Your address is exactly like it is here. You are placed on a block within your neighborhood and you are given an address to tell you where your site is. You will also be emailed your member name and password. If your password is long and too hard for you to remember or you don't like your member name, go to the profile editor at geocities.com/member/tool/profile-editor.html. After you've done all that, you can finally begin building your site. I recommend that you use GeoBuilder to start your site off. After you've done the basics to your site, you then start to use HTML. But for now, let's stick with the GeoBuilder. First, you should choose a background so that when you start to type text, you know what color to make it. For example, if you have a blue background, you don't want to use blue text. After you have chosen a background, then you can begin to type text. After you've done that, if you want to, you can add dividers and margins to your page. When you are done, I recommend that you save it as index.html only because it makes it easier to find and locate your site. Use GeoBuilder to make the other pages. And then when you are done with your site, you are going to have to use HTML to add cool accessories to your site. I recommend going to www.htmlgoodies.com. I wonder if that is still alive
I'm
and
going to
well.
try right now.
To get most of your HTML codes. There are HTML codes for counters to see how many people visit your site.
I
JavaScript
remember
and much more.
installing those.
The
I
counters,
remember
right?
having it. Yeah, this website
I
still
hope
works.
this guide helps you on how to make your own site from applications to HTML. Have fun. Anyway, this is June of 1999. GeoCities, sort of the first social network of sorts. I had a website about my bearded dragons because I had a bearded dragon also, I remember very clearly. So internet's very different, huh? Very, very, very different than that little article, a little blast from the past. And so I thought it was very cool because there was sort of this like doom and gloom around the new millennium, similar to how we have doom and gloom today around AI, but we also have this article on building websites and just showing you how different everything is today. We still have drag and drop website builders, and we still have not, people are not using GeoCities anymore.
And we still don't put blue font on blue backgrounds.
I can't, and you still don't put blue font on blue backgrounds. Exactly right. Exactly right. So where are we? Right? I wanted to use this as a point because you had me watch a YouTube video over the weekend. It was Elon Musk and Peter Diamandis talking about their predictions for the next 10 years. And I can't help but watching that and almost feeling like, what's the point of doing anything? I mean, Elon Musk at one point literally advises people to not even save for retirement because there will be universal high income. The government's just going to write you checks. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he's wrong, and you should definitely not do that. or I should at least say if he's wrong, you're the one who ends up screwed, not him. So definitely don't do that. But there's that old Wayne Gretzky quote that we talk about where it's you want to skate where the puck is going, not where it is. However, when you watch something like that, I can't help but feel like they're telling you where the puck is going to be in the second period, 2 minutes in. And you cannot play a hockey game like that. And so as a business owner, I watch this and I go, this is almost masturbatory because this does not help me. None of this is applicable to my business today. This will not be applicable to my business in a year. And although he's telling you that we're going to double the human lifespan in the next 3 to 4 years, I'm willing to bet we're not. Just from what I know and the medical conditions I know of the people around me, I think they're thinking about doubling the lifespan of healthy individuals, first of all, not, listen, you have somebody with Alzheimer's in your family. They are not close to solving that at all. They have no idea. So let's just take that aside. As a business owner, so where did I want to take the stand up today? How do you, Justin, how do you think about preparing for sort of the immediate future in a useful way. Because we're not about to start a data center in space company tomorrow. I gotta feed the family. So for the rest of us, for us mere mortals here on the surface, what do you do? How do you think about skating where the puck is going without being the guy standing on the other end of the field going, it's going to be here. It's going to be here next period, 5 minutes in. I'll sweep it into the goal, but I'm not playing the game. I'm not playing this game right now.
You know, you and I have talked about this in a couple different ways over the years. One of the things that I think that we've coined is keep your eyes on your own road, or you're going to hit the guardrail. And I think that, you know, it's important to listen to the thought leaders of today. I think it's important to hear what these people have built. And if you're interested in their legacy and their story and what they've created, I think it's really interesting of how they've gotten to the success that they've gotten to. So I'm a student of what they create, but at the end of the day, for me, it doesn't really impact me in the way of a formula. I'm mostly interested in how can we be as prepared as possible for whatever comes next. And so for me, if the internet becomes so autonomously habitable to where like people like you and me just don't have a role, like if we actually are replaced fully by AI and there's no longer a need for a business who builds people's ideas because they can do it themselves entirely, tip to tail. I don't see that climate as of right now. But what I do see, the world will always need merchants. The world will always need sales folks. The world will always need relationship managers. The world will always need some of the other things that we have invested in to become savvy businessmen. You and me talk about this all the time. Like if I never build another piece of software, never build another website again, hopefully it's from a place of fuck you money, and we've done really, really well, and we've created a foundation and a future for ourselves. But is this the be all end all for the rest of our lives? So no matter what, for me, as I look at this, I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. This is my current business. We have other businesses that we focus on as well. And in 20, 25, 30 years from now, I'll likely still be an entrepreneur. I'm just not sure in what category, backed on what opportunity. And so I can't look at the second period, second minute in, where's the puck going? I have to look in the macro, like I am a creative, I am an entrepreneur, I am a connector. You know, I feel like those types of things at my core allow us to keep our eyes on our road, make the best of the business that we have for today, be students of the moment. But if I'm skating where the puck is, I'm skating to portfolio of businesses. I'm skating to a life of entrepreneurship. I'm skating to, you know, a financial foundation that provides legacy and comfort for generations in my family. I don't know necessarily what the thing is that's going to contribute to us. I do know that the fear-mongering of today's thought leaders and their speculations, and if we bring it back to your article about what's going to happen in Y2K, humans always figure out a way to circumvent the moment. And so I can't really worry about the doom and gloom of all these things that are going to happen. I have a business to run today. I have mouths to feed today. I'm super grateful for what we've built and for the direction that we're taking this thing in. If I'm realistic with you and I'm realistic with myself, the way that the business looks today is not how it's going to look maybe in 5, 10, 25 years. And then I wrinkle that by saying we know people who got into this business 25 years ago, and it looks almost identical today as it did 25 years ago. So,
And they're still going. And they're still going.
and everything is fine. And so there's something to be said, which is keep your eyes on your own road. My road doesn't look like their road. I don't know if I want to be doing what we're doing, same way, same strategy in 25 years, same as it is today. No growth, nothing spicy happens in your life. I'm not sure that that's what we're going to end up doing anyway. So I don't know where the evolution of this whole thing takes us, but I do know that every time that a large scale event is being discussed, especially around the internet, it is, you know, just a ship passing in the night. It's not even a big deal. And so I don't know.
Let's take Napster, for example. I did not think that the future was going to be subscription music, right? Like you were at Sam Goody one day, saving up money to buy one album. Then you were just downloading your favorite songs off the internet. and then there's Spotify. And I would not, and so, and there's I think that the way I think about it on the tech side is one, being adaptable, like you said. Like Claude Code came out, and I used Cursor, didn't like it, but I tried it. I stayed curious. I stayed very curious.
We
And
were
then,
resistant at first, actually, because we were super beat up by the Web3
yeah. That
moment
was
in
supposed to be
time.
the future. Yeah. It was, I didn't want that, but I did keep trying stuff. And I think that some of the folks that we've referenced, a lot of folks have come forward today and said, oh, I'm using AI and it's amazing. But a year ago, it wasn't so great. It's changing the way we build software, but I don't think it's taking away the specialty of software engineering. I think it's just changing that, like that mindset is just being applied differently. And I think Jensen Hung has a great little talk about this, just talking about how you're now freeing engineers to be problem solvers, and they're not stuck in the code anymore. And I think that's like one way I think about it. I definitely think about, like you said, I don't like to think that far in the future. I like to think, okay, like a little, I want to be at the forefront of like what a business is supposed to be. I'm not 20, so that I could keep iterating, but it's almost more important to be agile, to be able to skate behind the puck and move with it, than to try to predict and build a business around that. And as you said, if something changed tomorrow and it was like, hey, software is not the thing, well, then I'd look and say, well, I'm a person with agency, as Dan Coe would say, right? I have agency. I can do anything. And I'd say, well, I guess data centers need electricians. We're going to learn that. Like I would just learn the next thing to figure out, like to pivot my business, to start another business. I do think that was kind of an interesting point of the talk too, that having a job may not be the future, but entrepreneurship may be the future. And I think that there is going to be a big push, but regardless, the mission stays the same. And I was hoping, if people are watching, your job is the same today. You still have a job to stay curious, to have high agency, to stay ahead of the curve, but you don't have to be that far ahead. Like, I'm still using Claude Code. I try the new stuff that comes out. I'm still back on Claude Code because to me that's still the best setup for me. But I'm trying and experimenting with the new things, and I'm prepared for what comes next because I just like technology, and that's it. And I just stay curious and stay ahead of it.
You know what I also think is a timely hockey analogy? We're talking about the great, Gretzky has a famous quote, skate to where the puck is going. There's another very talented hockey player on our Islanders right now, Matthew Schaefer, young
Yeah.
Canadian, 18 years old. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that dude doesn't skate to where the puck is going. He influences where the puck is going. Right? His team is watching him for him to be open, for his vision, for him to
That's
create
a good
opportunity for
take.
them. And so I don't know if Schaefer really gives a shit about where the puck is going. Schaefer cares that when he gets the puck, he's the most valuable person with the puck. I really like Schaefer, and I like that he's 18. What I really mostly like about Schaefer is the way that the rest of the team protects that asset at all
Yeah,
costs.
yeah.
In some interesting reality, you're cause of a kind's Matthew Schaefer. And
Thank you.
well, yeah, but what's interesting to me is you're more executionary. I'll bring you whatever I can, and you're going to take that business, and I know that whatever I pass you is going to be successful. Same with the rest of the team. My perspective is not necessarily where the puck is going. It's to find the right opportunities for the next thing that you and I will be successful with. So when I get the puck, I know where I'm going to pass it to, and I know that whatever we get is going to be successful. That doesn't necessarily mean we always score. It doesn't mean we always win. It doesn't mean that we don't get checked in the open ice. Like it still is the responsibility of taking that puck and putting it in the net. You don't always have to score. And in entrepreneurship, you are going to fail more times than you win. And you said it the other day on social media, you have failed more times than most people are even interested in trying. And so to me, that's the formula for success in the new age of business is, like I said before, my road leads me to a life of entrepreneurship. My road leads me to a life of creative. My road leads me to a life of business partnership and being a successful networker and connecting people and Boom. That does nothing. That has nothing to do with building a software agency. That has nothing to do with running a retail restaurant. That has nothing to do with being an investor. No, none of that. None of that.
Well, these are timeless, like almost truths of being human. And I have to sit here and say to myself, one thing that AI doesn't have is accountability. And so a lot of the jobs that we talk about replacing a human with, like they spent a good portion talking about how one day you'll have a robot surgeon, which I thought that's kind of cool, except there are a lot of things, right? It's not subject to sweating it the way that a human is, right? They didn't have a bad day, things like that. But a robot has no accountability. A self-driving car crashes into 10 people. I can't put the driver in jail. I could sue the company perhaps that made that thing. But there's something to think about, especially when it comes to the engineering side, that because I'm knowledgeable, I can be held accountable for what the AI does on my behalf. If the shoe was on the other foot and you decide you did the same thing, you would have trouble feeling like you had true accountability for the code that was being written because it would be foreign to you. And I think a lot of folks, especially in business, a lot of people underestimate how much companies pay for the accountability, for the risk mitigation of hiring a person to do the job. I've got pipes in my laundry room right now that I am thinking about replacing because they're old, they're copper, and I said to you the other day, I said, the problem is if I fuck up, what happened? And I'm really not paying the plumber because I can't cut and replace pipes myself. I can do that. I've done sections of pipe. I'm paying them really for the accountability. And sometimes you have to remember that people are still always going to pay, as long as we live in a litigious society as we do, they're always going to pay for someone to carry the accountability at the very least.
That's an interesting perspective. Honestly, that's an interesting perspective. There's also the other things that come into play there. The bedside manner, the soft skills. I say bedside manner loosely. Call it client services, call it customer relations, call it relationship development, whatever it is. All of these things that we rely on for generations, ancient merchants of Mesopotamia. This is all ancient science of hand-to-hand business and entrepreneurship. And, I think you're right. Like the estimation for the future is like there will be an increase in agency. There will be an increase in entrepreneurship and how people conduct themselves. There may be a decrease in committed salary. It may be more performance based. It may be, here's your series of tools. You have to use them to a certain threshold and we're monitoring, or I don't know what it's going to look like. But what I do know is the way you started is the way we'll end. Is speculation is just that. Fear of what is coming is not really helping you to be proactive, and you're not embracing your Matthew Schaefer of the Long Island Islanders, which is to create your own MVP scenario. Like whatever puck comes your way, be valuable when that thing comes there. So, dude, good topic for today. Interesting. I didn't think you'd go there.
I figured you would, and I'm going to keeping it fresh. We'll see what I come up with for tomorrow.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Peace.